the Seireitei, a Bleach fandom community podcast brought to you by Karakura General Hospital. And if you think it's morally objectionable for a hospital to sponsor a podcast, then we suggest you seek your medical care at a different hospital. Hello, everybody. My name is Del, and today I am joined by Lethan.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, man. New arc. We're in a whole new arc.
We are.
And not the filler arc. We've gone and skipped the filler arc because that's what we do. But
yes, and this is the final arc before the new arc that's due to drop in October.
I know. It's incredible. We were just looking at our calendar earlier, too, and I was looking at how many canon episodes we have left to discuss. We're so close.
I know.
We're
Can you
so
believe
close. No, I genuinely... Well, partly
Remember
because...
when we started this?
Well, yeah, there's that. That's incredible, really. Yeah, the fact that we've been... And it's incredible how much this kind of thing can just fold into the fabric of life so naturally. I know that there was a period of time before we were doing the podcast. And by the way, I know there was a period of time when we were only doing these episodes every 2 weeks. And even though this year has been rapid fire catch-up hours... It just feels like a really nice, lovely little part of my routine now. I know I do the podcast every week, and that's just part of how I live my life.
Yep.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing to me that the final arc is getting animated at all, because I remembered reading the final arc and thinking, well, how nice that the story continues, and that's all I ever thought we were going to get. And now, have you rewatched the trailers at all?
I haven't, no. I know I should do that because I only watched the most recent one that came out once, but I'm also like, I don't want to watch, I'm worried about spoiling stuff too, because you know how like trailers, I don't know if you've spotted this, but like trailers for me right now are going drastically downhill, where they're like showing you the whole fucking movie or the whole bloody series in like the trailer, and I'm so nervous about stuff like that happening, because even although I have read 1,000 Year Blood War, I read it so long ago. And, like, we were discussing this just before we came on this podcast episode.
Yeah.
That, I forgot something that I did 20 minutes before. And I'm like,
so
I've forgotten pretty much everything that happens, apart from a few key moments from a few key of my characters. I've forgotten everything that happens in this final arc. So, like, I'm really looking forward to just watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are things that I remember so clearly, partly because they were emotionally impactful, and partly because they were so dramatic. It's a high drama arc. I don't feel like it's spoilery to say that it's a high drama arc. But then there are things that go in between those moments, and I know I've read them, and I know I care about them, but I forget the meat of what they are sometimes. Unless I go back and look, which I actually do somewhat frequently, but even so...
So yeah, it'll be good. It will be good. So that's why I've not watched the trailer again, because I'm like, I've actually forgotten what was in the trailer, which is great.
I mean, mostly pretty close. The second trailer, anyway, is a lot of really aesthetically pleasing close-ups on primarily the captains, but also some new characters, and you get their names flashed across the screen in that striking red and white font, and it's just a nice little moment, I imagine, for folks that haven't really paid too much attention to the anime, or to the manga, frankly, since the original run of the anime stopped, just to say, hey, remember these cool characters that you like so much? Bam! And then it's on to the next one, and on to the next one, and then it shifts, and it's into some new characters for a little bit, but it's not particularly plot-heavy at all. It's character heavy. It's not plot heavy, I would say.
That is fair.
Yeah.
Excited.
It made me feel excited anyway. And it didn't really remind me of much that happened. I don't think. It's been a second since I've rewatched it, but I've watched it a few times.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of watching things a few times, gosh, this is going to be interesting too, because the rescue arc and the Arrancar arc, all of the previous canon content that we've covered, I've rewatched a couple of times. I think I've seen the Fullbringer arc twice.
Okay.
But I think I'm being generous. I think I bopped around a little bit when I watched it the second time and skipped over things I didn't particularly care about. So the arc that we're going into now on the podcast, the Fullbringer arc, is not going to be an arc that I am as familiar with as the arcs we've discussed previously.
That's fair. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think because also it was like one of the last animated arcs of Bleach, it's like quite far along in its bloody episode timeline, so I bet you a lot of people have only seen it a couple of times, you know? I've definitely seen the first 3 seasons of Bleach way more than any of the rest of it, because that's like the bit that I would go and rewatch with friends.
I revisit Arrancar arc and Winter War stuff with some frequency, but we've talked about this too, is because I have a couple of Arrancars that I quite like, and I know that prior to this rewatch, that wasn't particularly something you cared about too much for the most part.
Yeah.
Well, shall we see what there is to discover when it comes to what we care about and what we don't in the Fullbringer arc starting now?
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay, right. Episode recaps. Let's go.
Yes. So, to be fair to the audience, we did mention that the final part of 342, episode 342, that little sort of end 4 minutes or whatever, is actually canon, where Rukia is effectively saying goodbye to Ichigo, and they're saying goodbye to each other because he's losing his powers.
Ouch.
It's a heartbreaking scene, and it's so beautifully animated. Like, I went back and rewatched it for this, and I was like, oh god, the animation is like gorgeous. See when Rukia like looks up at him. It's so good.
And they've gotten so good at the reflections of light on people's faces and on their hair and in their eyes.
In the eyes, that's what I really noticed it too. Yeah, you're right.
Beautiful. It's so beautiful.
Yes. So I don't have a recap necessarily for that little last part of that episode, but that was what happened at the end of episode 342. And
it just confirms that he starts to lose his powers actually in that second stage that was described at the very end of the Arrancar arc.
Yeah, whereas they've dragged it out over the filler arcs, effectively. And now he's
wouldn't that be what if the filler arc was just Ichigo bopping around without powers while his friends do stuff and he's just there for moral support?
That would be amazing. It would be hilarious.
So stupid. That's the domestic fluff AU that everybody's actually looking for.
Somebody there wants to write it, link us on Twitter.
Yeah, for real.
That brings us into episode 343, third year high school student dressed up and a new chapter begins. This adorable slice of life episode starts with Ichigo waking up in bed. 17 months has passed and now he's 17 years old. Yuzu and Karin are now high school students and Ishin hasn't grown up at all, apparently, as he asks Yuzu to help him pick out a tie. Ichigo reflects on the fact his close friends now know what transpired that day when he's greeted by an enthusiastic Keigo at school. Uryuu has taken over the role of protecting Karakura Town, running past his class as Ichigo absently toys with his substitute Shinigami pass, which has lain dormant for the last 17 months. After school, some poor git is having his bag stolen and Ichigo, being the legend that he is, decides to help him out. Grabbing a knife with brilliant reflexes as a guy tries to cut him, he returns a stranger's bag, only for us to learn that this stranger knows Ichigo's name, and what's this? A Soul Reaper badge falls from the bag that Ichigo just returned to him? What the hell? After a strange dream, where Rukia, Renji and Byakuya told Ichigo to wake up, we see Ichigo at school once more, loaning his services out to the football team, only to learn he also has another job, with a boss who is both forgiving and not forgiving when he calls to say that he won't be at work that day. Some thugs show up to school demanding to see Ichigo, while the shady guy we saw with the Soul Reaper badge returns to a diverse group of individuals, none of whom want to fucking open curtains, apparently. Shrouded in darkness, he tells them all that the next substitute Shinigami is an interesting fellow.
And that brings us to episode 344. A dispute in school, Ichigo and Uryuu fight together. As the title of this episode might lead you to conclude, we begin in school. So, Obuta-san and his cronies from Miyasho High, apparently, have absolutely insisted on tracking down Ichigo and exacting their vengeance on him because of the anti-theft services Ichigo performed yesterday. But Uryuu simply won't hear of it. And Uryuu tries to resolve the dispute through reason. Though when one of the gang members mistakes Uryuu for Ichigo, Uryuu begins to gracefully throw hands, telling the gang that he's changed his mind. And just when it looks like Uryuu is going to try to single-handedly beat all of the gang members' asses on his own, Ichigo emerges from where he's been lurking behind a corner and gets involved too. Together, Ichigo and Uryuu proceed to wreck shop, and meanwhile, Ichigo cautions Uryuu against exterminating hollows so recklessly, but Uryuu seems pretty unconcerned, stating that he only exterminates hollows when Urahara Kisuke tells him to. Yokuchin, another gangster whose hair has gotten fluffier and whose nose ring chain has gotten gnarlier since the last time we saw him way back in the first arc, emerges, and he's also looking for Ichigo. But he is soon literally kicked in the ass by an angry-looking woman, who is revealed to be Ikumi Unagiya, Ichigo's boss. She stuffs Ichigo into her van and hauls him off to work, leaving Uryuu alone with the gangsters in the schoolyard. Ikumi and Ichigo arrive at Ikumi's odd jobs shop, where the two trade words about the shop's name and about the nature of the work they do, and where it's revealed that Ikumi is the mother to a young boy, Kaoru. Before long, there's a knock at the door, a customer, ostensibly. Ichigo recognizes the newcomer immediately. He's the stranger whose bag Ichigo recovered from one of Obuta's henchmen, and the stranger has come with a request. He wants Ichigo to conduct a background check on Isshin. Elsewhere, Karin visits Urahara's shop, where Urahara gives her a lot of anti-spirit and anti-hollow products free of charge. Urahara inquires after Ichigo, and Karin confirms that she doesn't want to get Ichigo involved. He's always been protecting her, so it's finally her turn to protect Ichigo. Ichigo has left Ikumi's place, and he sees Karin leaving the Urahara shop. As he ponders, the stranger from the mugging appears behind him. He introduces himself to Ichigo as Ginjo Kugo, and then tosses Ichigo a business card with the words, "Welcome to our execution," printed on it. He says that Ichigo should probably act before his family gets hurt. As the sun sets on that very eventful day, Orihime and Uryuu both find themselves outside the Kurosaki clinic. Something seems off to both of them. While Uryuu observes from below, unseen, Orihime is invited inside, but she can't bring herself to ask Ichigo anything. Uryuu catches a glimpse of a strange, thin man reading a book and walking on telephone wires. This man begins to speed away, but Uryuu doesn't sense a change in the man's reishi. Uryuu follows, but the next thing he knows, the stranger apprehends him. We cut to flashing lights and the sounds of sirens, and finally, a shot of Uryuu bleeding on the ground. And that brings us directly into episode 345. Uryuu is attacked. A threat draws near the friends. Darkness falls. Keigo and Mizuhiro walk home together past a construction site. They hear someone following them, and then Tatsuki is revealed. She shoves them both to the side right before a huge steel beam crashes to the ground, right where they'd been standing moments before. Elsewhere, Ichigo strolls along the river and he reflects on his abilities, or lack thereof. In a bold, decisive gesture, he hurls his substitute Soul Reaper badge into the river. He returns home and congratulates an excited Yuzu on her high test score. Orihime, who has returned home, replays the events of her conversation with Ichigo over and over in her head, sometimes accurately, sometimes not. Sometimes there are shreds of romance running through her memories, but mostly she seems stressed that she couldn't bring herself to talk to Ichigo about the fact that something has been feeling off to her recently. But shortly, she's interrupted by an urgent phone call. Back at the Kurosaki home, Karin and Yuzu eat dinner, and both of them talk a little bit about how things have seemed off with Ichigo lately, too. Karin resolves to confront their brother about it, but she doesn't get the chance because Ichigo bursts downstairs on his way to meet Orihime and a severely wounded Uryuu at the hospital. When Ichigo arrives, Uryuu, still injured but awake, chastises Orihime for calling Ichigo in the first place. Ryuuken, on the other hand, thinks that sharing information is actually pretty important. After criticizing his injured son's fighting skills, Ryuuken leads Orihime and Ichigo out of Uryuu's hospital room. He lets Ichigo depart, but informs Orihime that neither a hollow nor a Shinigami hurt Uryuu, and that he suspects that whatever caused Uryuu's injuries was a human who somehow gained power, not unlike the Quincy's, or Chad, or Orihime herself. Ryuuken warns Orihime. Either she or Chad, he thinks, are likely to be this attacker's next target. The night passes. Ichigo has a hazy dream of Rukia. In the morning, he offers to take Karin and Yuzu shopping after school, and the school day passes, pretty unremarkably. Ichigo turns down an offer to go bowling with Keigo and Mizuhiro, neither of whom tells Ichigo about the construction site shenanigans from the night before, and with that, Ichigo goes to meet Yuzu in the shopping district. Karin will be late, Yuzu says, but Tatsuki arrives, asking if Ichigo has seen Keigo and Mizuhiro. Tatsuki was supposed to meet the two of them, apparently. Tatsuki, being the good and responsible friend she is, does tell Ichigo about the construction site shenanigans from the night before, causing Ichigo to haul ass just in time to catch Keigo and Mizuhiro unconscious on the ground. The thief whose face Ichigo messed up is back again, and as Ichigo holds him off, he catches a glimpse of Uryuu's attacker, who bounces pretty quickly after Ichigo hands the thief's ass to him again. Ryuuken appears, and he calls for an ambulance for Ichigo's fallen friends. Ichigo tries to ask Ryuuken what happened, but Ryuuken won't answer. What, he asks, can Ichigo do? Frustrated at his lack of power, Ichigo remembers the black business card from the previous day. That evening, he calls the printed phone number. Okay, so here's the thing about the beginning of this arc, is there are just a lot of moving parts and pieces that have to fit together just right for it to work. It is very like he said, she said, who is in which part of the city, who knows what, who doesn't, who's communicating with whom and who isn't. It's a little bit more interpersonally twisty than we've seen from Bleach, I think, literally ever.
Yeah. Yes.
Which is, it's what, like, I was putting this summary together, and it was so, thank you for listening to that fairly extensive description of the past 2 episodes, and I was like, there's probably a way that I can streamline this a little, and there kind of isn't, because the things that are important are who has what information and who doesn't. That's the whole entire setup of this arc.
Yeah, and I think, though, it is a bit more streamlined in the manga because a lot of what happened, especially in that last episode, was filler.
Oh,
so when
my God.
When we come to the manga and anime differences for that episode, that last one you just recapped, you'll see.
Oh,
it's extensive.
Okay, well, thank God, because most of that last episode, a lot of the problems could have been resolved if people just told each other things.
Yes.
Which is, by the way, not usually how it goes in a shonen. I could see that in a josei, maybe,
yeah.
But this is, I don't know, they're growing up, and so they're interested in exploring different ways of interacting with each other because teenagers change in their late adolescence. I don't know.
Yeah, it was definitely streamlined in the manga. It was definitely
Oh, thank God. I'm actually really relieved to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, in that case,
yeah.
Please God, let's hear those anime and manga differences.
Perfect segue. Cool. So the manga and anime differences for episode 343. We start off with a new volume, and if you remind me, I will go and get the volume thing and give you the volume poem and all that jazz.
Oh yeah, would you please? Oh,
don't let me forget. We
Okay.
need to play that.
Yes, please.
This has got 2 chapters. The chapters are 424, The Lost Agent, and 425, A Day Without Melodies, from this new volume, volume 49.
A Day Without Melodies.
Yeah, it's kind of poetic, isn't it?
Very. Well, and I'm also just thinking about, I mean, I know that anybody that's been watching the anime straight through, this won't be true for you, but knowing that the last theme song we got was Run Boo No Melody, and it's like, well, fuck you, the Winter War's over and you're powerless. I know that it doesn't go together in that way, and that this volume had a title before that theme song was ever even a figment in somebody's potential imagination, but...
Yeah, that's cool. Right, the differences here, in the manga, the farewell of Rukia and Ichigo obviously took place right after the battle with Aizen, where Ichigo had been unconscious for a month. So that's what happened there. I also would just like to ask, were they all just waiting about in his bedroom for a month for him to wake up? No? Yes? Okay.
Oh, God.
When Ichigo gives a recap in the beginning... there's no flashbacks in the manga except for one panel of Aizen, and the anime obviously gave us a lot more flashbacks, which we expect at this point, I think.
Sure.
In the manga, there were two girls. I had to call this out, I'm so sorry. There were two girls staring and blushing at Tatsuki. And say, like, in the background, in the background, when we see Tatsuki, there's two of them talking in the background, and they even say, like, it's Arisawa, and it's got them with blushes on their cheeks and everything, and in the anime, we just see two girls in the background, but they're not looking at her, they're not blushing, and they don't say her name. And I'm like, what? It's so good!
I'm so happy. Give the people what they want only, but also what Tatsuki deserves.
100%. 100%.
Oh my gosh.
And the other last difference is the anime shows us the execution card and the other characters at the end of this episode much earlier than they appear in the manga. We don't get to see them until quite a bit later in the manga.
Yeah, well, you got to keep the viewers interested somehow, I guess.
Very true. Yeah.
And
that was it for this episode anyway.
Okay. Yeah.
So I have a question for you. I'm interested to hear...
Maybe I have an answer. Okay.
I'm interested to hear an answer from somebody whose favourite character is not this and whose pairing is not this.
Interesting.
Why did Rukia never visit Ichigo?
Oh! Well, there was a line that said that she was relieved of her Karakura Town duties. In the anime, anyway, that was overtly stated. Mm-hmm. I also wonder whether... I have a couple thoughts. Mm-hmm. I wonder what Soul Society protocols when it comes to visiting Karakura Town specifically are like right now. I wonder if those restrictions are tighter, given that the Winter War happened in pretty recent memory. I know time has passed, but it's still 17 months is still recent. Mm-hmm. Are you asking me because you have a specific answer in mind, or are you just curious?
I'm just curious. I mean, I've got a little niggly bits in my head, but they're nothing concrete.
Well, okay, so that was one thought, that there could be some actual formal protocol stuff in place that makes it complicated for her, in addition to having been formally relieved of those duties, which honestly, I think that was probably the move, at least for immediate next steps, just in the sense that if they're trying to rebuild Soul Society, like emotionally as well as physically in the wake of all of this. I think it is. I mean, I think it is a smart move to keep Rukia, who is so directly emotionally involved with Karakura Town, to maybe give her duties that are somewhere else, just so that she can have a little bit of separation of space. I imagine that probably is helpful. But then I also wonder whether... I guess it depends on whether Rukia seems like the sort of person, and she's changed over the course of Bleach, but I don't know how willing Rukia is to directly face things that hurt. I mean, you think about how long it took her to look her brother in the eyes, for example, and so the idea of going back to Karakura Town, seeing Ichigo in pain, potentially, I wonder if she wasn't ready to encounter that yet, whether she was sparing both herself and Ichigo a little bit by not stopping by to visit. I do think it's kind of silly now that I'm talking through this. Not silly, but I wish she'd gone by to hang out with Orihime a little, because I do really like that friendship. Yeah. Damn it.
So in my head, what I've been thinking is, if I'm putting myself in Yamamoto's position, right?
Please do, because anyone would be better than him. What?
I'd want Rukia and Renji to be close-ish, because they're two that have got the most relationship with the people in the world of the living, right, in Karakura Town, right? Renji and
I think
Rukia,
you've forgotten about Ikaku and Keigo's sister, but carry on.
Yeah, that's very true. But I don't know if I would trust Ikaku with this type of issue.
No, I don't think I would either. He's good at other things.
Yeah. So I would keep those two even just like every 6 months in my head, get them going back to just check that there had been no change in like Orihime's powers or Ichigo's powers, or like just for a report back on that. And that's something that I'd be interested in, just to see if anything was happening with Ichigo or anything was happening with Orihime. Now, it could be that he was... like him and Urahara might be on talking terms a bit more now, and maybe Urahara's keeping an eye
part of it
on him, which is fair. But I would still want somebody that had been close to Ichigo specifically to just sort of keep a wee eye on him. But I agree with the Rukia thing, not potentially wanting to go and... because it was really... you could see it in her face, even though she made a joke, you could see it was pretty upsetting for her to just disappear. Imagine your friend not being able to see you. That's hurtful. Yeah. Like, that's really hurtful, especially after everything they've gone through together. Sucks. So, right. That. But also, like, Rukia missed such a great opportunity of leaving him creepy messages on his bathroom mirror when he was coming out the shower. Oh, could you imagine that? That would be amazing. I absolutely have never written that into effect, and nobody can prove it.
Oh,
I so would. If it was me, I would.
She did, but I almost think that crosses the line into being too sad again.
be like,
even if it is a joke, it's no matter what, you can't actually resolve that tension. Not even that, like, because humor is a kind of tension too. So you can't even share a laugh together.
Yeah,
like, that's true. Actually pretty heartbreaking.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. That's what I would have done.
Although, something I will point out is that, and I don't know what it is in the manga or in the dub, but at the end of episode 342 in the anime, because there are a lot of different ways you can say goodbye to people in certainly Japanese, but also other languages. But the way that Ichigo says goodbye to Rukia, he saes Jana, which is see you later. It's not like a final goodbye or anything.
Yeah,
there's an explicit...
Sayonara, is it?
No,
that's like the goodbye for goodbye.
That's the final the final goodbye. Yes. Yeah, so either he doesn't want to face it or he has hope, and I genuinely don't know which it is. Ichigo is a little hard to read that way. He's pretty good at hiding the sads from other people.
I think even although he knew he was losing his powers, I think there's part of Ichigo that knows that he's going to try and get something back. Like, that there's something...
I think so too.
You know, like, he's going to recharge his batteries and something's going to happen. I think if I was in his position...
Urahara's going to come up with something out of left field, or who knows.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So, anyway, that was my question. That was the only thing I really had for 342, technically.
Yeah,
that's it. And then it's just into 343. So what have you got for that?
I think that the main thing that I want to hit on in 343 actually comes up in a more meaningful way throughout the whole entirety of these 3 episodes, and it's mostly about, it kind of starts with Karin and her certainly her ability to still see ghosts, but also the incredible care she takes to, I was going to say, to sort of to spare Ichigo. I think that's a theme that I noticed throughout these 3 episodes overall, is there are people who are very close to Ichigo who go to a lot of effort to spare him what they think is going to be painful for him. Mm-hmm. We see our first example of that, I think, in Karin in this episode, when Ichigo's like, hey, what's up? As the ghosts are bothering her, and she's like, oh, it's nothing. And you can, like, she's maybe thinking about saying something to her brother, but she chooses not to. Mm-hmm, and there are other examples of people behaving similarly around Ichigo throughout these episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's quite cute.
Yeah.
It shows you how much Karin has grown up as well.
She and Uryuu both have, I think, actually. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've got, what did you think of the intro, the walking through the number screens?
I loved it.
Isn't that,
I thought it was beautiful.
Fucking brilliant?
So fucking impactful. I love parallels that shift through time. And I don't know what there was in the dub, but there was no music or anything in the subtitled version, and I think the stark nature of it all, it almost made us feel as viewers kind of like Ichigo feels, I imagine. You know, he's had this incredible, magical, colorful world for so long, and then suddenly it's quite plain. It's quite simple.
Yeah. I'm wondering, like, if they're going to do something like that intro similar for when it comes back in October. Like,
I guess it depends on whether he gets powers back or not. Huh.
But yeah, true.
Yeah. I hope they do. I imagine they will. I don't remember how the final arc started in the manga that way. I'm not sure.
I mean, they made a unique number screen for every single episode of Bleach. Every single episode of Bleach had that unique number screen, and I know a lot of them were based off of stuff in the manga. Not all of them, but some of them were based off of manga panels and stuff. But, like, that's just, it's a lot of effort. So to see some of the numbers flashing up in this intro as Ichigo's walking, I was like, that's fucking cool.
Yeah. It was very cool. Yeah. I liked it. That's my hot take.
What did you think of Tatsuki's hair? I'm just, all minor questions this time.
What did I think of Tatsuki's hair? I don't like it. It's the one glow up that I really don't like at all. I think almost everyone looks a lot better, and Tatsuki made a choice. But to be fair, okay. So here's the thing, and I don't want to project, but there was a period of time, and mind you, this is before I knew I was trans, but there was a period of time, I wore my hair short throughout late high school and basically all of university, and then I was like, all right, I'm entering into this profession, and so I probably need to have a quote-unquote conventional female hairstyle. Ugh. So I started growing my hair out a little bit, and for a bit I had sort of like a bob with bangs, and it was fine. And then when I was like, all right, my hair is categorically quote unquote conventionally feminine now, so what can I do to this, like, because of course long hair equals girl. Yep. No, like, so many things wrong with literally all of this.
About?
I'm
that's sarcasm, by the way, audience.
I know. It's so anyway, I'm in this phase in my life, and I went, okay, great. I need to keep my hair sort of long somehow, so I can like turn on the femme situation when I need to. Which, again, convoluted, but this was my thinking. So I proceeded to effectively get a mullet. Like, oh no, but look, I still have girl hair. And now I gotta say, it looked pretty cool. And I was like living in Brooklyn at the time. It was a whole thing. But I wonder if Tatsuki's exploring something similar. Yeah. Masculine yet feminine. This is still girl hair, but I'm Tatsuki.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know what she's doing.
Just
and
stick
maybe
to the short hair club, Tatsuki.
It was so good. I hope in a couple of years she'll make a different choice. But you know what? You gotta try stuff to figure out what works and what doesn't.
Yeah.
Like Keigo, for example. God.
Oh, God. Yeah, I cut my hair at 18 and I've never looked back. I'll never forget going into that shop, and the lassie was like, how much do you want off? I was like, take it all off. And she was like, are you joking?
It's so freeing.
She was like, I was like, keep going shorter. She was like, are you sure? I was like, yes, just fucking take it all off. So
it's so freeing. It's so fucking freeing.
It's so great.
I want for Tatsuki whatever makes her feel the most freedom and the most sense of ownership over herself and her identity. And if that is this bizarre mullet situation right now, then you know what, girl, more power to you. Yeah. I'm not here to police your aesthetic choices.
Yeah.
I don't like it, but it's not my decision. Gosh, I don't know that I have much to say in about episode 343, simply because we're at the beginning of an arc, which means we have a fuck ton of stuff to establish, and so there's not even much to say about this unexpected substitute Soul Reaper badge, really. We don't know shit about it, it's just there. That's not really worth a conversation. It's just there. I get to tune in more to find out.
Yeah. I will admit, I took me note of their Ichigo saying that he doesn't miss Rukia, and I've got Rukia, ? Renji, ? I was like, bullshit. He's dreaming about them. He's obviously, there's something going on there. It's that kind of subconscious thing, isn't it?
during that scene, Ichigo is drinking a juice box. Like, stop it.
Yeah,
Look me dead ass
yeah.
in the face and tell me you don't miss anybody.
Yep. Exactly. I feel like that's just like, that's that subtle subcontext thing that they put in, isn't it? Where it's like, a character can say one thing and mean something totally different. But I'm sorry, if I had friends that I'd fought beside and gone through that much with for like that period of time and not seen them in 17 months, you bet your backside I'm missing them.
Absolutely. And at the very least, you're going to think about them and hope that they're doing okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's another thing, too, is they live dangerous lives. Being a Soul Reaper isn't an easy job. He may not even know whether they're okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
but yeah, other than the Soul Reaper badge falling out of that guy's bag, that's all I've really got for this
Good
episode.
God. Yeah, me too.
Cool. I jump into manga and anime differences then for episode 344.
Yes, please.
Okay, so sticking with the same volume, this has the very last page of the previous chapter 425 and gives us all of chapter 4, or a bit of chapter 426, the starter 2, and 427, a delicious dissonance, as well as bits from 428, the known, and 429, welcome to our execution. Because this jumps...
These chapter titles are fire.
I know, this jumps all over the place, so that's something that I definitely need to call out here. But
Lord, no wonder these summaries were so hard to... That was part of it, too, is I was just trying to put the events in order, and that was hard. And I was like, all right, I guess it's always sunset in Karakura Town unless it's right after school. Oh, kidding, it's nighttime? What?
Yeah, it jumps all
it was
over
messy.
the place, yeah. So Yoku-chin was breaking the fourth wall in the manga, so it's amazing.
Man, I wish they'd kept that.
I wish they'd kept that too, because Ichigo, just before Ichigo's boss comes and attacks him, he was saying to Ichigo, wait a minute, you were flashing back just now, try to remember. It's so good. And I wish they kept that in.
Well, especially because he appeared in a flashback even previously. That's so good.
So funny. Yeah, and then I've got a note there saying the anime jumps between multiple manga scenes and multiple manga chapters, which makes these two overlap chapter-wise. But for example, I've got examples here. Ginjo getting followed by two characters from execution happens in the next episode, but happens like in this part of the manga. It happens the moment after he leaves the Unagi shop. Yeah. Yuzu showing Ichigo the test that she got the 95% on also happens much earlier in the manga, but is in the next episode of the anime. And I think that's because they wanted to move some canon content into the next episode, which for the most part would be completely filler otherwise. So, Ichigo's boss in the manga, by the way, I was quite surprised they didn't include this. In the manga, Ichigo's boss tries to shut Ginjo down and deny his business when he starts bringing up Ichigo's father. So when he starts bringing up Ichigo's father and she sees that Ichigo's getting like worked up about it, she tries to shut him down and say like, we don't want your business, blah 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 blah, but none of that happens in the anime.
Let's go, Mom.
Yeah,
that's rad.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. And then in the manga, this was also cut from the anime, there is an extended fight sequence between Jinta and Tessai that goes on for about 2 pages. I know.
Why would you cut that? That's quality content. What?
And it's just before we see Karin.
I have a question for you after we finish the differences. Remind me, put a pin in that.
That's it. That's the last one.
You said Jinta versus Tessa. Oh, that's it?
Yeah, go.
Great. Okay, so my question is, what did you think? I mean, feel free to answer about Jinta's if you want, but what did you think about Jinta's and Uryuu's glow-ups?
Jinta was okay. I didn't look. I will admit, I didn't really pay too much massive attention to him. I just thought that he looked a bit older. He looked cooler, in my opinion. Uryuu was. I don't remember liking her design as much as I like Jinta's new glow up. But
yeah, I
otherwise,
asked about the Uryuu one because that one makes me feel really strange.
Okay, why?
I don't like it. I feel like, I mean, I guess, okay, so thing number one is she seems to be wearing a schoolgirl uniform, and I don't think either of them actually goes to school. I don't think. I might be wrong about that, but I don't know. maybe I feel like the idea is, and I felt like not so much this way with Karin and Yuzu because their hairstyles are like their hair is pulled back, and so I feel like they still feel like, oh, they're solidly, middle school age, preteen age kind of. They don't feel, they're not supposed to like make other characters blush, and Uryuu does that, and it makes me feel weird because I just don't know how much agency they have a lot of the time. I don't know. I've never quite known what to think or feel about Urahara and his domestic partner Tessai's adopted children.
Yeah.
Not that they're adopted children exactly, but like for that, I don't know, functionally that's a family unit, and I will die on that hill.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yeah. Huh.
I wondered whether Jinta was trying to emulate Renji a little bit.
Oh,
I mean, he already had red hair, and so maybe that's why I'm seeing the parallels. But I wonder if there was an extent to which, because Renji is a really different older male figure from either Urahara or Tessai, and so the idea of Jinta being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna try and like be like my cool weird uncle or older cousin, it feels correct for Jinta.
I like that. That's fucking cute. That's my new headcanon.
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe that's what Uryuu is doing too. Maybe she's trying to be like Rukia, and that's why she chose to wear that uniform. I never thought of that before.
Oh, that could be cute.
Because she's definitely seen Rukia in a schoolgirl uniform before, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the manga, actually, and I couldn't remember. Was Jinta wearing a uniform of some kind too?
No, he had like a sleeveless white shirt on or something. Well, in the anime anyway, he did. And his hair was kind of brushed back a little bit more. It's a little bit longer. He's clearly gotten a bit taller. They both have.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's a bit strange if she's in a uniform and he isn't.
Yeah. I think that was part of the reason why I thought it was strange as well. But there you go. But hey, they're still around, and I guess they're growing up, so...
Yeah, at least
that's
they're
pretty
still alive. That's good. You can never be too sure.
They seemed so young previously.
Yeah. Right, this episode was a bit interesting for me because I feel like we were starting to build on something, right? There was mention of spiritual pressure clinging to Ichigo. So there's obviously something going on with him and his powers, and his friends that can sense that are starting to notice. But I loved the scene with Ginjo where he questions Ichigo about his dad, like, how much do you really know about him? And
it was cool, I agree.
And there's some important things that you've not been told. And I'm like, oh, there's foreshadowing if I ever saw some. For maybe not just this arc.
Foreshadowing and also callback, because we know that Isshin has kept things from Ichigo, big things from Ichigo in the past. And so if Ginjo's intention is to plant that seed of doubt, he's doing so in a way that has substance and can be backed up. But then the question comes, how much does Ginjo know about Isshin? I think we can assume he knows something about Soul Society, given that badge.
Yes.
Which means he might know about Isshin's Soul Reaper status. But if so, why? And then why the fuck haven't we ever heard of this Ginjo guy before?
Yep.
Couldn't be because the Soul Society likes keeping secrets, could it?
No, I couldn't...
They're pretty out in the open with all of their laundry, both dirty and clean.
Am I making this up? But do I remember when Shiro gave Ichigo the Soul Reaper badge, when he spoke about it, he it's not that he overtly made reference to there being more badges, it's that he didn't deny that there were more badges out there. So, like, that was like an open... Yeah, like, I'm sure I
don't think the number of badges was ever discussed. It wasn't discussed, but it seemed like there was protocol involved, you know?
Yes, so
like,
it's happened
this was the
before.
kind of thing... Right.
Yeah.
It was the kind of thing that they already had protocol in place for.
Yeah. It was something like, this badge is given to people who blah, 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 which, just with the wording of it, does make you think, oh, probably there is more. So I just like the fact that when Kubo wrote that and did that interaction, he left that nice open-ended so that he could come in later and start writing. Or maybe he's always had this character in his head of, like, this lost we're assuming probably maybe he's the Lost Agent because he's got a Soul Reaper badge and this is called the Lost Agent arc. Like, who knows? But connections can probably be made there. And so, like, it's nice. I just love it when writers leave things and then come back to it later, and it's just really, it works.
Yeah.
This is when it works.
And we know that Kubo is the kind of person that does that because he more than any other mangaka I'm aware of anyway, will draw a character and then just kind of leave them either off in the background of a scene, or will never show that character to a publisher or whatever, and then flesh that character out later, in the same way that Rukia came about, because he just wanted to draw someone who looked like that. And then in one of the early volumes, we get some dipshit with Shinji's stupid fucking haircut, and then Shinji shows up a few chapters later in a far more meaningful capacity. So he's done this before. For all we know, there were little sketches of Ginjo Kugo all over Kubo's throwaway note sheets of paper and stuff, and now he's finally a part of the story.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's making me intrigued to know more about this. Like, they've definitely set Ginjo up as a character that I want to learn more about. He's got a pass. He's talking to Ichigo about his father. Who is this guy, you know?
Yeah, and he seems sketchy as hell.
Yes.
Which, in Bleach, I'm like, okay, so what's your actual thing, though?
Yes.
Because we just spent a whole fucking several seasons being like, Gein's such a bad guy. And then Gein comes closest to killing Aizen before Ichigo and Urahara. And it's like, oh shit, I guess there was more to mine there. Bleach characters are never one-dimensional. Not really. Not unless they're fucking... I was about to say Don Kanonji, but, like, honestly, not even him.
Yeah.
Bleach characters kind of, as a rule, don't tend to be one-dimensional.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. And then the only other note I really had for this episode was the music when Ichigo was looking at the execution card. I've only noted that. I don't know what... I'm like, I just remember the music being quite cool and attracting my attention. So...
Yeah, it was different. It was, like, kind of glitchy, but on purpose.
Yes.
Like, the fabric of the world is doing something new as he's looking at this.
I like that.
Ooh, yeah, thank you. I wanted to point out something stupid that I think might amuse you.
Go for it, please.
Which is just, I just wonder why people in the Bleachverse are so in the habit of carrying photos of people that interest them. It's a fairly, I mean, it's one of those things where, to quote another cartoon that I like very much, it's not a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. It's kind of.
Wait a minute, I've heard that quote before. What is that from?
Oh, that's from Phineas and Ferb.
Okay. Yeah, that's me. That's all I've really got for this episode. I just want to know more about Ginjo and who he is and who these people are, and yeah.
I want to know more about fucking everybody. Oh, shout out to the fact that Uryuu is class president. I think that's it for me, though.
Oh my god. Of course he was. Of fucking course he was.
Well, it goes to show it's not a position where you have to be popular. You probably just have to be good in school and reasonably dedicated. Good for him.
Yeah.
I hope he gets into the college of his choice.
Oh, bless him.
Yeah. Well, hey, speaking of Uryuu, shall we move on to 345?
Let's. Okay, so episode 345 is got a couple of bits of the other previous chapters because it was jumping about, as well as bits taken from so previous chapters 248 and 249, and one chapter which is 430, Welcome to Our Execution 2. Basically, like, only the first 10 minutes of this is not filler.
Oh god, yeah, which it's as I was watching, I don't think, because normally it's pretty clear when stuff is filler because it doesn't make sense a lot of the time, or it doesn't seem to fit in timeline wise. And I think because this is a new arc, and even the animation style has bumped up a little bit, so things look different, things feel different, the flow of things on the screen is a little bit different. So as I was watching 345 and 344, I was like, oh fuck, this is twisty, but I guess that's what Bleach is now. Plus I also didn't really remember, because like I said, I haven't watched this arc as many times, and I also don't know that I have ever read most of these manga chapters. Some towards the end, I know I have, and I will shout those out when we get there, but we got a long way to go.
Yeah.
And so hearing you talk about the way these episodes and chapters fit together now makes a lot of sense. And I'm like, oh yeah, clearly it's kind of fillery. But as I was watching, I was like, oh no, we're just trying something different. But hearing you say it, I'm like, oh, nope, yup, clearly. So
the
anyway,
anime was trying something different. Just the anime.
Yeah, guess so.
So effectively, the scene of Tatsuki saving Uryū and Keigo is anime only. Like where she saves him from that metal beam thing and falling.
You know what that means? That one of my Shinigami Cup awards is also anime only, but whatever,
That's
we're
fine.
here.
Fuck it, who cares? Ichigo throwing his soul pass into the river is also anime only.
What the fuck? That feels like a big deal.
Yes, that's what I thought too, and I did skip ahead in the manga to see if he does it at any point, and I couldn't see him doing it. Not at least for this volume, you know what I mean? So, and things progress later, so I'm like, well, if he's not done it by that point, I'm pretty sure he's not doing it then, is he? So
probably not.
Yeah.
Let's keep an eye on that moving forward. That feels like a pretty significant change, actually.
Let's, yeah. When Ichigo's in his room and then he's got flashbacks happening, obviously we know at this point pretty much flashbacks are filler, so that's no surprise.
Yeah.
And everything from the dream of Rukia to the book guy saying something's not going to plan to somebody else in his room, Ichigo talking to Uryū and Keigo at school, him shopping with Yuzu and running off with Tatsuki to save them, all of that is all
Holy
filler.
Shit. Oh my god.
Basically, the first 10 minutes of this
most
episode.
Of this episode by a long shot. Yep. That's so messy. Okay.
It is so messy, yeah. So, the first 10 minutes or something of this episode are canon, and even then there's still some fillery bits in it.
Whoa. So, at the end of the episode, I got the sense that Ichigo made the decision he made to call the number on the shiny platinum business card because up to now he's felt really inadequate about his abilities, and he's been unable to physically protect people that are important to him. And so in the manga is the implication that Uryuu getting hurt was
that's enough.
That's
enough. That was enough. Yeah. I think Uryuu, but also I think
wow, way to diminish that friendship, anime. Jesus. You know what then? Circling back to your question about whether Ichigo misses Rukia and Renji, it's like Ichigo and Uryuu they were not close prior to the events of Bleach. They were not. And now Uryuu getting pretty fucking hurt is enough for Ichigo to go, oh boy, I need to protect my friends? Yeah, I'm gonna go with he misses Rukia and Renji.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That, and also the fact that he saw his little sister running away from Urahara's shop. I think so. It was
sure.
Karin and Uryuu. Those two were enough for him in the manga.
Yeah,
to
so
be like,
Uryuu got hurt and that's his friend, and then he doesn't want his little sister to have to shoulder this burden.
And get involved. Okay. Yeah, and something that's potentially dangerous. So yeah, all of that, you're right. And yes, he does miss Rukia and Renji, and he is worried about them, and I don't care what he says.
Yep, agreed. Wow. So all of this he said, she said bullshit, and is any of the construction site stuff, are Keigo and Mizuhiro even...
They're barely in it.
Unconscious?
They're in the scenes at the beginning when Ichigo goes to school and he bumps into them, and then Keigo and him still have that conversation on the roof of what about Rukia, where's she been, blah 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 blah.
Okay, yeah, but I like that.
That's kind of it. They're not really in it much beyond that.
They don't get hurt at all.
No.
Jesus.
Nothing happens to them. They're fine. Tatsuki's barely in it. It is literally the Karin stuff, Uryuu getting hurt, and this Ginjo gang. All of this is what's happening.
Wow.
Also, where's Chad?
Okay, not only does that make more sense, but I think where's Chad is actually a pretty significant question in this case, because especially because I assume, thinking about it, so I mean, I don't want to assume anything frankly when it comes to filler versus canon content, but Ryuuken's conclusion as he's speaking with Orihime, he's like, so Uryuu got hurt, which, okay, just this is not the first time. Not only is this not the first time we've seen Ryuuken shit on his son while he's down,
honestly,
but also, aren't there regulations in place where you can't operate on family members? Isn't that a thing? Maybe not in Karakura Town?
Yeah, you're right.
I think I've heard that before. I'm not a medical professional.
No, that is meant to be a thing. Yeah. Unless it's like a dire situation, nobody else can do it. You know what I mean?
That's such a big hospital. Yeah. Worst case, take him to fucking Ishin. Ishin's a doctor too.
Yeah.
God. So anyway, when Ryuuken says to Orihime that someone like she or Chad is likely to be next, is that in the manga?
Say that again.
Is Chad's name dropped ever?
I think he is. Yeah, I think Ryuuken does drop Chad. That scene of him like talking about Orihime and everything. That was all. That was all manga. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
But I've just got.
I'm also. Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say one of my main notes for this episode is in the worst dad awards goes to ... That's all I've got.
Well, yeah. I just thanks for acknowledging that Ryuuken is the worst dad in Bleach, as opposed to any other potential.
I mean, the bar is already very fucking low, but yeah.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, I could see if Ichigo picks up on the fact that, I mean, certainly he's going to pick up on the fact that Orihime is worried, Karin is worried, Yuzu is worried in her own way, and then if even part of him suspects that Ryuuken might be twisting the knife by being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna talk to Orihime about this, but not you, Kurosaki, knowing, I guess, I don't really think we've got too much clarity on whether like Ichigo and Uryuu know how well their dads know each other, if at all. Like, but we just kind of, most of that content has been in those little flashback scenes where like it's clear that they hang out and they're both medical professionals and they have, it seems kind of like a friendly rivalry now. Yeah. But knowing that it's still a Quincy versus Soul Reaper situation anyway, so I could see Ichigo being like, oh, Ryuuken thinks I suck too, can't stand for that because my pride won't take it. Or if at the very least his dad's pride, maybe.
Yeah, the world is pushing Ichigo to get his powers back at this point. That's what it feels like. It feels like there's hands going round his neck right now.
Yeah. Yes. And with that in mind, we are definitely left with the question of who Walking on Electrical Wires Bookman is. I mean, fucking obviously he's involved. The question of how he's involved is a big one.
That's a huge one. And who he is and what his powers are too, because Uryuu was trying to give us an explanation, a breakdown of some of his powers. Good point. When he was jumping, he was like, I'm not really sensing any reishi here, and the little sparks or whatever were coming up where his feet were touching down, and that's what distracted Uryuu, and the guy got the blow in. And Uryuu is quite a fairly intelligent person. Like, he knew more about Ichigo's powers before Ichigo did. He's
incredibly intelligent, I'm
like, if anybody's going to know about a bizarre power type, it would probably have been Uryuu out of the friends. Like, out of Ichigo, Chad, and Orihime, and Uryuu's going to know about
easily.
it. Yeah. So,
easily Uryuu.
The fact that he didn't, and then he was caught off guard by whatever this guy's power is, tells us that this guy's an interesting character that we're going to need to keep an eye on, 100%. And what's with the book?
Exactly.
The book's obviously important. They wouldn't have it.
That's a really good question. I am just so used to characters in Bleach just having a weird thing that what's with the book didn't even occur to me. But yeah, you're right. Like at no point, say Renji first shows up, I'm never like, oh, why does he have the tattoos? I just go, it's Bleach, and I keep watching. And I just assume that this dude with his book is like, oh, he just has a book.
Yeah, no, it's just...
Nope. That's a good point.
It's something I think we're going to have to keep an eye on. It's like Echo with his pocket watch from Arcane. So, yeah.
Well, and also, see, that's just the thing, is sometimes there are things in the extra, then lore outside that tell you exactly why Echo.
100%. I already know.
I know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's like his whole thing.
It's important.
But yeah, sure.
It is important. We all know it is important. So this guy's book is important.
Who cares about the Hex Claw? Moving on.
Yeah. That's me. That's all I've got.
Yeah, geez. I think... Wow, that's actually it for me too. Other than to say, kind of as a button on these 3 episodes as a sequence of events, it is so hard to watch Ichigo show this kind of I'm okay face to the world when he's so clearly... I think it's pretty clear anyway that he's still either he hasn't processed what it is to not see his friends from Soul Society on the daily basis, or the fact that he can't physically protect people in his life in the same way that he used to. He's still pretty good because we see him beat, like, he can beat up thugs all day, but he was able to do that before he had Soul Reaper powers too.
Yeah.
So that sucks. That's hard to see. But it occurred to me as I was thinking through overarching themes of these episodes that, sure, Ichigo's not really a physical protector in this case anymore, but his instincts are so strong that I think he's trying to emotionally protect everybody in his life at the moment. And that's why it's so important to him to show his friends and his family that he's quote unquote okay. If he just smiles and carries on with his normal high school life, as hard as it is, then I think he thinks he's making it easier for them, even though it just means everybody has to dance around complicated topics and nobody's actually talking about some of this important shit. Everyone in Bleach needs to go to therapy, is once again the point of what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yep.
I think that's it for me, though.
Yeah.
We've just started a lot of things.
Yes. Start of a lot. Excited to get my teeth into. Want to learn more about these characters we've now met.
God, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I think that little let's go up the fancy penthouse elevator and open into this inexplicable bar where nobody lets light in anywhere.
Nobody's opened the curtain.
Nobody's opened the curtain. I didn't even realize that, but you said that and it's like, oh yeah, I guess it was lighter outside than that when he went up the elevator. Good point. Yeah, we kind of know what these people look like and presumably they work together. I don't have anything else to say about them right now. They've just showed up briefly and that's kind of it.
Yep.
We'll see how this all
plays
starts
out
to unfold. We'll turn the page and get to the next chapter.
A book reference.
You know what I realized? I was like trying to make a clever joke about books because of Bookman, but then I went, no, this is literally a manga. We do turn pages and there are chapters, so my metaphor falls very, very flat.
I got it. It was still good.
Yeah, but it wasn't a metaphor. It was literal, and that means it's not a metaphor, so...
Fine. It's still punny.
Oh, I'm appalled at myself.
It's fine.
Well, remember how that talk about bars being on the floor? We found another instance. Oh, God. Wow, okay, so I guess that's us for episodes, huh?
Yeah.
Tight. All right, so that brings us to our Shinigami Cup Peroxide Edition. Who wore it best this week, Lethan?
Tatsuki rocking that mullet.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I mean, better her than literally anybody else.
Oh, God.
Wait, actually, if there were one other Bleach character that you would like to see with a mullet, who would it be?
Who would it be?
Or, like, who else do you think could pull it off?
I'd pull it off, I don't know, but, like, who would be funny to see with one would be Byakuya, please. Ooh. That'd be hilarious.
Ooh, that's cursed.
Right?
That's pretty cursed.
I feel like Aizen could have got away with it.
Oh, he basically had one in his butterflies in form.
Yeah, so I feel like he could pull it off, but like I would love to see Byakuya because that is cursed.
Oh, that's super cursed. Yep. Yeah, good answer.
What about you?
Ugh. Well, see, I initially went like, oh, who would be a bit funny? But then I started thinking about people that actually could make it work. And it's like, honestly, if Soifone rolled up with a mullet and then looked you in the face, like, what would you tell her no? Would you?
That's true, actually.
And then people that could actually make it work are Yoruichi and Kukaku, but now I'm just thinking about, like, vintage 80s women's wrestling, and Yoruichi and Kukaku and Tatsuki all would be really good at that. So I think my brain is just thinking about... Not that I'm much of a women's wrestling fan at all, but there's something about that vintage aesthetic that actually would work for all three of them.
Yeah.
Maybe because they're both such strong fist fighters, I don't know.
Do you think Shuhei would suit it?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, okay.
Next question.
Okay, cool.
Wait. Look me dead in the face also and tell me Rose never tried it.
Oh my god, right?
His hair's just so curly. It's just so curly.
Oh gosh.
I mean, maybe. Rose's hair would suit it best, even if it doesn't exactly suit Rose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Anyway, I also went with hair this week, probably because it's a time skip, which means that most characters, most but not all, RIP, sometimes I cry, get hair changes and aesthetic changes. And I am actually giving it to Keigo this week.
Ooh, yeah.
Because I think his new hairstyle, the way that we actually see it when he's bopping around and going to school and stuff, it actually does look more mature, and I think it looks quite nice. And his hairstyle previously wasn't bad when it was a little bit longer, but I think this really does suit him, and it shows that he's kind of growing up. And when he thinks to ask Ichigo that question about what he wants to do after high school and stuff, I don't know. It's really nice to see that side of Keigo, and I think his haircut reflects that. So Keigo's glow up is my who wore it best this week.
I love it.
Yeah. And best ship this week.
Okay, my best ship goes to Kubo's art and the chapter titles. Namely, for chapter 426, where we see Ichigo in Uryuu's arms punching the guy with bleach written on their arms, and then the guy's teeth is coming out, and it's chapter 426 on his teeth.
Oh, God, that's good.
I have to recommend anybody to go and look that chapter title up just because it is very well done. So yes, my ship is Kubo's art and the chapter titles.
Beautiful. My best ship is some bullshit this week, but I couldn't be bothered to come up with something else over the course of this recording. It is apparently anime only, but I think it does still speak in a way that doesn't suck to the quality of the relationship I'm going to mention, which is... in that very convoluted last episode where nobody was telling Ichigo anything and there was all that he said, she said, they said, whatever, I give it to Tatsuki and Ichigo for their friendship, because Tatsuki is a practical motherfucker and was like, Ichigo, it's important for you to know that people that you care about were in trouble before they go to the construction site. Not that anyone actually goes to the construction site. We can say that conclusively now. But I liked the fact that they were like, no, the one to tell Ichigo the real shit should be Tatsuki. That was correct, and I always like their friendship, especially when they're really real together. So, Tatsuki and Ichigo, even if the reason is some filler nonsense.
Yes. I like that. That's a good one.
Did we have a volume game to play?
Oh, shit! Hold on, let me go and grab it. 2 seconds.
Okay, all right.
Wait, right there. Wait. Hold on. Okay, I have it. You ready?
Ready as I'm gonna be.
Okay. It's quite short, actually. So it says, I wonder if I can keep up with... the speed of a world you're not in.
Oh, fucking ouch. See, that feels like Ichigo.
It is Ichigo.
Thank God. Okay.
And who was he talking about?
Ryuuken!
Of course he was. Of course he was. The bastard saying that he doesn't miss her. Bull fucking shit.
Yeah, that's true.
Yep. And it is a really nice volume cover for Ichigo. He's got like this really sick winter coat on. It's beautiful. Hold on. I'll try and take a picture, but it is very dark here right now, so give me a second.
Oh, yeah.
It's cool, right?
Oh.
So for anybody listening, it's volume 49. Go and look it up.
Oh, buddy.
Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, he really does. They all glowed up pretty dang well, I gotta say.
Yeah.
The main character crew.
There's something I like about the style, how the jacket's like flapping in his face a little. You know, like you get a sense of wind in that picture, and I just love it. I think it's great. Kubo did a great job on it.
You can put on a jacket and you can ward against the cold, but if you go outside, it's still gonna Gensha eventually.
Yeah.
Just say you miss her, Ichigo.
Exactly. I wonder why he would have a winter jacket on. Gee, I wonder.
Ouch, my heart.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, good game. What's your fandom shout out this week?
So my fandom shout out comes from Twitter, and it comes from somebody that's called Sarah, and that is at h_artislife on Twitter, and it is a
I know who this is. I think I know who this is, maybe.
Yeah, you think so? So they've done...
If they also have a Tumblr, I might. Hang on.
Hold on, let me get the link to the tweet. So effectively,
we'll see if I recognize the style.
They've got... it was for Kubo's shout out that we did. They did for the Bleach 21st. They did a death in the strawberry.
Oh, I do know who this is. This person, I believe, has a Tumblr also.
Yes, they should. Their art is phenomenal. So it's got death written at the top with Rukia who's in it, and it's got all that kind of like blue, sort of icy and sky blue glow behind her, and she's putting on the glove that she used to deck Ichigo with to get his soul out. And then it's got strawberry underneath, and it's got Ichigo, and he's got like all this kind of fiery orange goodness surrounding him, and then it's got the hell butterfly smack bang in the middle. And it is really, really fucking cool.
Yeah. It's like it's clearly this person's style, but it's very first arc, old school, throwback kind of stuff. Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah. Oh. And this artist has got so many amazing things on their page, so definitely go and check out some of their other stuff too.
Absolutely. Yeah, this is great actually. You did something that referenced like the very beginning of Bleach, and I found somebody who I just think it's really, really awesome when artists and writers and creators just really love a character, and if they're not like a main character kind of thing, like I get like a lot of people love Ichigo, Rukia, Toshiro, like people that have all of this hype, and I feel like in the fandom, granted in this rewatch we only just met him, but I feel like Ginjo Kugo does not get that treatment very often. This is an artist who clearly fucking loves Ginjo, and I just think that's really awesome. I
love it.
So I'm sharing a couple of pieces by an artist who goes by Snowbody on Tumblr. This is the first one. This is sort of their interpretation of Ginjo as like a younger, cool dude. And then this is one of him wearing a super duper deep V Hawaiian shirt to celebrate summer. And then this one, I mean, listen, I guess categorically it's a little bit spoilery, but here's the thing, y'all. It's Bleach, so some of these characters are gonna be able to fight. So if you don't want any spoilers at all, then maybe don't scroll through this person's whole entire page, but like, I don't feel like it's a massive, like, to be like, at some point he gets a weapon. This is him with a weapon. You know?
Oh, yeah. I love that Hawaiian shirt.
I just think it's it's like almost as if like Bleach and JoJo's art styles kind of merged, but it's also very clearly neither of those things is what this person is doing. And they really fucking like Ginjo. So here you go. If you're interested in this character, take a little scroll through. This is Snowbody on Tumblr.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
Yeah. It's a good style. I like this style a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's really smart.
Oh, man. All right. Anything else from you, Lethan?
No, that's me.
Cool. Well then, you wonderful souls, you know what that means. That is the end of another episode. If you like what you heard and you want to get involved, you can find us by searching for the Seireitei on Instagram and Seireitei on Twitter. Now, I was going to say Ichigo and Rukia might reap souls, but Ichigo doesn't have powers right now, so Rukia might reap souls. But we're hoping to reap some 5-star reviews, and that's where you come in. Make like our favorite raven-haired protector and just go to iTunes and Spotify to rate us and review us and make us feel like an unseated officer in the 13th Division. And to those of you listening on YouTube, don't forget to be like Chad, wherever he is, and give us that good thumbs up. Oh boy, do we really appreciate that. On the next episode of the podcast, we'll be covering anime episodes 346, The Fullbringer User, Kugo Ginjo, 347, A Creeping Danger in the Kurosaki Family, Ichigo's Confusion, and 348, Power of the Substitute Badge, Ichigo's Pride. Try not to cry too hard between now and then. I know I will. We'll see you souls then. Till next time. Bye!